Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I am going to teach you how to make an easy and fast crochet pumpkin basket. I hope you find this video to be useful. The basket pattern I am going to be teaching you can be made in any size, and you can use it in your home for decorative purposes. This is what the basket looks like from the inside, the outside, and the bottom. The lid also turned out quite cute and stylish. To make the basket bigger or smaller, I'll explain all the measurements step by step in the video. Please watch the video from beginning to end without skipping any parts. To make the basket, we will use Himalaya Homegurumi cotton yarn. We will be using a 2.75mm crochet hook. To show your support, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you have, then let's get started without wasting any time. For the basket, we will be using the color yellow. To ensure that the basket is more sturdy and holds its shape, I will be using 2 strands of yarn together to thicken the yarn. You can also crochet your basket using thicker yarn. After making our slip knot, we will begin by making a chain of 20 that is not too tight. I have finished the chain of 20. The length of this foundation chain will determine the height of the pumpkin. If you would like to make a taller pumpkin, you can increase the number of chains. Skip the first 1, 2, 3 chains, and in the 4th chain from the hook, we will double crochet. Now, including the beginning chain, we will double crochet 11 stitches side by side. After making 11 double crochet stitches, let's half double crochet 3 stitches side by side. Side by side, 2 single crochet stitches. And in the remaining 2 chains, let's make 2 slip stitches side by side. We've completed the first round. Along with the chain, we made 11 single crochets, 3 half double crochets, 2 single crochets, and 2 slip stitches. Chain 1. Turn the work. Using the back loops only, slip stitch twice into each of the 2 slip stitches below. We will always use the back loops only as we work upwards. Let's make 2 single crochets side by side using the back loops on top of the 2 single crochets at the bottom. Let's make 3 half double crochets side by side using the back loops on top of the 3 half crochets below. Let's make 11 double crochets side by side using the loops at the back again. Let's complete the row by making the 11th double crochet to the top of the last chain. Chain 3. Turn the work again. From the 2nd round onwards, the pattern will repeat itself in each round. Alright, we're going to make a row of 11 double crochets right on top of the double crochets we made in the previous row. Next up, we'll create 3 half double crochets, working from the back loops of the previous row's 3 half double crochets. Then we'll make 2 single crochets, again working from the back loops of the 2 single crochets in the row below. So, for this third row, starting from the back loop of the second stitch, we'll follow this pattern: 11 double crochets, 3 half double crochets, 2 single crochets, and 2 slip stitches, just like that. Now, let's chain 1 and turn our work around. For row 4, we're going to repeat what we did in row 2. So, we'll work 2 slip stitches, 2 single crochets, 3 half double crochets, and 11 double crochets in that order. Make sure to finish the row by working the 11th double crochet into the top of that last chain we made. Great, now chain 3 and turn. We're going to keep repeating the pattern from the previous row until we have a total of 26 rows. This is going to build up the height of our basket. Once you've completed 26 rows, go ahead and cut the yarn, but leave a little tail for weaving in later. Now let's fold our piece in half, bringing the last row to meet the starting chain. Working through both layers, the front of the last row and the starting chain, we're going to slip stitch all the way across to join them together. This is what forms the base of our basket. Remember how we've been working with 2 strands of rope so far? Well, it's time to cut one of those strands. We're going to use a single strand of rope to create the gathered effect at the bottom of the basket, which will give it that cute pumpkin shape. Okay, now let's turn our basket right side out. Look at that. We've created the main body of our honey lid basket. We made 26 rows for this basket, but if you like a wider basket, you can definitely add more rows. Just keep repeating the pattern until you reach your desired width. Now, let's get started on the lid. We'll use 2 strands of rope again for the lid, just like we did for the basket body. Remember how we started the basket with 20 chains? For the lid, we'll start with a chain of 14. Make sure it's not too tight when you tie that initial knot. We're going to follow the same basic pattern as the basket body, but the number of chains and stitches will be a little different. Starting in the 4th chain from your hook, work 5 double crochets. This will give you a total of 6 double crochets, including the starting chain. So, that's 6 double crochets, followed by 2 half double crochets, 2 single crochets, and 2 slip stitches, all worked side by side. Chain 1 and turn your work. We're going to repeat the pattern we used for the basket body, but we'll be working into the back loops of the stitches in the previous row. Work 2 slip stitches into the back loops of the slip stitches below. Then, 2 single crochets into the back loops of the single crochets, and 2 half double crochets into the back loops of the half double crochets. Finally, we'll work 6 double crochets into the top of the double crochets from the previous row. Make sure you work that 6th double crochet into the top of the chain. Chain 3 and turn. Now let's repeat the pattern from row 1. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to keep repeating this pattern until we have a total of 30 rows for the lid. Remember, we made 26 rows for the basket body, and we'll need 30 for the lid. All right, I've completed all 30 rows. Now, we're going to repeat the same joining process we used for the basket body. We'll also do that gathering technique again, just like we did at the base of the basket, but this time we'll do it at the spot on the lid where we'll attach the handle. This will give our pumpkin lid that nice rounded shape. Now it's time for the fun part, adding the stem and leaves to the top of the lid. I'll be using dark brown yarn for this part, but I'm using a lighter color in the video so you can see the stitches more clearly. Let's start by making a magic ring for the handle. Chain 1 and then work 8 single crochets into the ring. Close the round by slip stitching into the top of the first chain. Chain 1. Now, working into the same stitch as the slip stitch, we'll make 8 single crochets. Slip stitch into the top of the first chain to close the round. We'll keep repeating this pattern for each round. Let's make a total of 7 rounds like this. Okay, I've completed the 7 rounds after the magic ring. Now we're going to increase the number of stitches. We'll work 2 single crochets into each of the 8 single crochets from the previous round. This will give us a total of 16 single crochets. We call this an increase or ink in crochet. For the rest of the round, we'll alternate between an increase and a single crochet. So it'll be increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, and so on, until you reach the end of the round. Now let's switch to green yarn. Slip stitch into the top of the first chain to close the round. We're going to make the leaves now. You can adjust the length of the leaf by changing the number of chains you make. I chain 25 for the longer leaf and 20 for the shorter one. Work 2 half double crochets into the third chain from your hook. Then, work 1/2 double crochet into the next chain, and then 2 half double crochets into the next chain. We'll continue across the chain, alternating between an increase and a single half double crochet. Slip stitch into the next stitch on the handle to attach the leaf. Now, let's make the shorter leaf using the same process, but with a starting chain of 20. Slip stitch into the next stitch on the handle to attach the second leaf. Then, cut the yarn, leaving a tail for weaving in. When you curl the leaves like this with your hand, they'll automatically curl on their own. Now let's sew this onto the lid of the basket. I'm using dark brown because that's the color I used for the stem. Let's place it symmetrically at the center point and start sewing. I'll use these top loops for sewing. Now that the sewing is complete, let's secure the yarn with a knot at the back and trim it. So, we have completed all the steps for our pumpkin. It's ready to use now. Using the steam from an iron, you can shape the top by making it sink slightly inwards and curling the edges outwards. Let's bring our orange pumpkin as well. That concludes everything I wanted to teach you in this video. I hope you found it helpful. I'll see you in the next tutorial video. Until then, please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and share them with your loved ones. See you in the next video.